Hi everyone, Gary Camp here with Dover International Speedway. Just wanted to introduce you to some folks that we have joining us today on stage. Christian Turow and Bert Bedrosian. Bert and Christian are both serial entrepreneurs with decades of experience in many different industries. Most recently, along with David Salzberg, they co-founded Strong Eagle Media. They produced the critically acclaimed feature film The Hornet's Nest, as well as Citizen Soldier and the soon-to-be-released Danger Close. All films are part of their Military Hero series. Strong Eagle Media has made a commitment to document this time in our country's history, telling the amazing stories of our servicemen and women using real footage from the front lines. Also joining us is Wendy Anderson. Wendy has more than 20 years' experience in defense, foreign policy, homeland security, and intelligence. From 2010 to 2015, Anderson served in a key leadership role in the Departments of Defense, including as Deputy Chief of Staff to Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel and Chief of Staff to Deputy Secretary of Defense Ash Carter, who now serves as the current Secretary of Defense. She is a partner in Strong Eagle Media and the executive producer of Citizen Soldier. And also we have Regan Smith, a familiar face to everyone. Regan is the driver of the number 7 Citizen Soldier film, Chevrolet, this weekend for Tommy Baldwin Racing, and he's in his first full-time season with TBR. Well, before we chat with these guys a little bit about the film and why they're here in Dover today in the Media Center, we'd like to show you a trailer for Citizen Soldier.
By these moments of heart-stopping tears. After that, all hell just broke loose. He's got a weapon. It looks like an RPG. There was a saying, there's no stronger ball than shared pain. The Citizen Soldier's been alive since 1636. There's something noble about that term. And I just hope that you guys take that term Citizen Soldier with you to the day you die.
All right. I have some copies of the film in my office here, so if anybody would like a copy of the DVD after this, just stop by and see me. So first for Bert and Christian, how did you guys, I guess, get involved with Mike Titoyen and the team here at Dover?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. You know, it's a small world. We had been involved in a project in Hollywood with another casino, really with a completely different event. And Mike and I met then. We became fast friends. And funny how the world works. We said, you know what? We liked each other so much. We said, you know what? We'd love to do something together one day. And here we are, probably, what, Mike, 3 to 4 years later. And destiny put us together completely unexpectedly, very serendipitously. Yeah, this is a very special event for us. And we just appreciate Mike so much and all the employees at Dover International Speedway. It's just been an incredible experience for us. Really, for me, my first NASCAR event. So I guess it's the right way to do it for the first time. And yeah, we're just delighted to be here. But yeah, that's how we met, just sort of serendipitously through another casino project we were working on, and he was there, and we just kind of fell in love with each other. And fast forward, here we are, guys. So thanks for coming.
Christian, talk a little bit about the film. How did this all come together? Did someone approach you? Just share a little bit of that.
So my name's Christian Turow, and I'm the co-director of the film, along with David Salzberg right here, who's doing a Facebook Live for us that's beaming out all over the world right now. So we had directed a film along with Bert, produced it with us, a film called The Hornet's Nest. Some of you may have heard of that. In 2014, it was critically acclaimed. It was up for an Academy Award. And the film, The Hornet's Nest, was really received well just by the entire country. And because we did something very special, we took real footage from the front lines, actual footage on the ground in the battles, and we recreated what happened in a first-person experience. And that film, again, was super successful. So we were reached out to by a general who asked us to help a young sergeant from the Oklahoma National Guard. This young sergeant, Aaron Harrell is his name, he talked his buddies into GoProing up. And they all put GoPros on during their year deployment in Afghanistan. And what they captured was what it became Citizen Soldier. It's an unbelievable journey of these soldiers. And also what happened was there were 2 female combat photographers who were embedded by the military. And we were able to get their footage. And so the film gives you multiple camera angles, so it feels like a $100 million Steven Spielberg film, yet it's real footage by real heroes. So that's how this happened.
How many hours of footage did you start with?
We had about 700 hours of footage that we had to go through, and ultimately the movie is 95 minutes. So we used 95 minutes to make the movie out of 700 hours of footage.
Were there restrictions from the Department of Defense, things that you couldn't use? How did that go?
We have a great relationship with the Defense Department, with the Public Affairs Office. Wendy Anderson was actually working at the Defense Department when she met us with the Hornet's Nest, and she'll let you know what happened after that. But we kind of know how to work with the military, and we work with them, and we make the movie, and then we submit the movie, and then they tell us what might be an OPSEC issue, which is operational security issue. So if it puts the soldiers in harm's way from what we're showing on screen, we wouldn't do that. So we work with them, but we really have full creative control. They don't tell us what to do, and that's what makes the movie so powerful.
It's a good segue to Wendy. Wendy, your background is certainly different from Bert and Christian's. How did you get involved, and what did you kind of bring to the party?
Well, I appreciate that question, Gary, and I just wanted to give another shout out to Mike and the whole Dover team for being so amazing. And obviously, we're going to be giving lots of thanks and accolades to Regan for helping us out. But what an amazing partnership this has been. You know, to be really honest with you, these guys, Christian, Bert, and David, are pretty irresistible for a lot of reasons. But really, the main one is their character. And I'll tell you, I was kind of at the end of a long government tenure, was really proud and grateful to have been asked to serve, especially in the Defense Department in the last 5 years. But I was looking for, sort of ways that I would transition out and focus on some other things. One of the things I knew I wanted to do was to continue to have some sort of involvement with our military families. And again, as Bert would say, fate would have it. A general friend of mine, who was also an endorser of the Hornet's Nest, introduced me one night in 2014 to Christian and David at a special screening of the Hornet's Nest in D.C. I would have never imagined at that point that 2 years later, here I would be a partner with them, really a member of a family and a part of a team that I haven't been a part of since I was actually at the Defense Department. And really, I just wanted to emphasize 4 reasons why the Strong Eagle team, in terms of how they approach these films, has been so, I think, really essential to my joining on to Strong Eagle. Number 1, these guys have understood from the very beginning that if you have 2.8 million men and women who have been deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan in the last 15 years, you really don't have to go the route of actors. We have an amazing community of our folks who have served in these wars. So we start with them, as Christian said, with Aaron Harrell. Secondly, not political. We just don't go there. We have a philosophy of the service member should be at the center of our films. They did this with the Hornet's Nest. They've done it with Citizen Soldier, and to us it was all actually a prerequisite and a fundamental element of how we approach filmmaking and storytelling. Third, and I want to give a very special shout out to David Salzberg, the involvement of the Gold Star families. Probably a lot of you know who Gold Star families are. It's a very sacred community of people in this country who have lost a family member in the wars, any wars, but especially these wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. David and our team reached out and centrally involved the families in how it is that we tell the stories. And lastly, the guys themselves of the Oklahoma 45th, which Citizen Soldier focuses on, they're really co-storytellers. They were the people that we joined with and said, hey, it's your stories. We want to help do whatever it is that we can to facilitate and lift up and surface what it is that you have to teach and tell the country about what your service has meant. So those 4 storytelling principles kind of knocked me out of the park, and I found my tribe, and ever since I haven't regretted it for 1 second.
Hey, the one thing I did want to mention, legendary musician Joe Walsh is going to be here this weekend. Could you talk about Joe and how you got him involved and what role he played in the film?
I'm going to give Christian all the credit for that. Christian and Joe were very close friends. Joe had an opportunity to see what it was we were doing, and what we're doing is just really trying to share with the country the up-close, real. You know, today you watch CNN and you watch Fox News. The same event, completely different story. So I told Christian, I think when Joe sees this non-political film without the hyperbole, without the angles, telling the true story of our men and women and what's really going on over there, I had taken a pretty good guess that Joe would be into it. So I'll let Christian answer it from there, but yeah, we're just delighted to have Joe involved with this project. What an incredible blessing. Christian, you can tell them sort of where it went from there.
So Joe Walsh has been supporting the military for the last 40 years. Most people don't know this. Joe has a military background in his family, and Joe created a song called No Man's Land. It's an original song for this film. It's the second time in his entire 40-year career that Joe Walsh has created an original song for a film. So we're very proud of that. And as Gary said, Joe will be here this weekend. He's the Grand Marshal. He's going to be saying those most famous words in racing, "Drivers, start your engines," which is pretty cool. And he's excited to just be here and speak to people and show his commitment for the film and for the men and women who serve.
Regan, real quick, you've seen the movie. Your feedback on the movie?
I have, and I had the opportunity a couple nights ago to watch it before we came up here, and you know, the main thing I can say is just how absolutely sobering the movie is, and the picture that it paints for, you know, any of us, and I know maybe some of us in this room have been to wars or been involved with wars, but for those of us that haven't, I don't think you can truly understand just based on what you see on TV and hear on TV. And as you guys said, there's always different maybe political reasons for a story being reported one way or the other. And you know, the beauty of this movie is that it doesn't do that. It's just these guys, these brothers that are in battle together, and it really just paints a vivid picture in your mind of what it was like for them in Afghanistan and in those wars. And you know, it's have some tissues ready, because it's one of those movies that it drags you into it, and you feel like you're very involved with the folks that are over there, and it was very, very powerful to watch.
Well, on to Dover and the competition on the track. How was the car in practice today, and any thoughts going into the race?
Well, I love Dover. This is this place has got a lot of meaning to me. You know, through the years, different races, different reasons, and in particular, last time we were here for this fall race last year, we stayed in qualifying trim most of today. So I don't know what I've got in race trim right now. We got a little bit of work to do in qualifying trim with it. The guys are over there working very hard right now to tune up the Citizen Soldier car and get it ready for later this afternoon. So you know, I think we'll find a little bit more speed between now and then, and you know, see where we can get that qualifying position at. But Nothing like this racetrack. It goes through some serious changes just from the first lap of practice to even the 10th, 20th lap of practice as the rubber goes down and as the track gains rubber, especially with the amount of rain that we've had here in the past couple days. So I would expect a completely different racetrack at 345 when we go out to qualify than what we even had in practice. And all the teams are going to have the challenge of having to adjust to that and prepare for that.
All right. Any questions from the assembled media? Start with Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. First of all, thanks to everybody who has served because it is a compelling story. But NASCAR is so patriotic. I wonder if being a part of NASCAR is because you noticed or knew, even though you hadn't come to NASCAR, how darn patriotic this sport is.
Absolutely. The demographic that is NASCAR is the demographic that we love, especially for these films. You know, our biggest, a lot of people don't know this, 88% of all Blu-rays and DVDs are actually sold through Walmart. And that demographic obviously matches our retail set. And we wanted to be involved with any company that would help us send our message. And our message is that every time you turn that light switch and that electricity flows, and every time you turn that knob and that water runs, we want everybody to know that literally, without our armed forces, that would not be happening. That sounds a little corny, but it's not hyperbole. And one of my deep commitments and all of our commitments is that we believe most people really do take that for granted. So, yes, we think NASCAR is an absolutely perfect fit. We think probably if you took all the sports and you said, where would be the most patriotic, loyal, and military-centric sports, I think without question, the answer would probably be NASCAR. So, thanks for the question.
Jerry?
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network and Kicking the Tires. For whoever could best answer this, when you guys were putting this film together and going through all of that footage, what was the most compelling thing that you came out of that with after you got everything assembled?
Thanks for the question. It's actually the movie that ended up on the screen. There's a lot of compelling stuff that you see in 700 hours of footage. There's also a lot of stuff that you don't want to show. Out of respect for the families, in our film, we highlight and you get to know soldiers who don't come home. And their families see that day on the screen. So we have to approach it with the ultimate integrity. And as Wendy said, we engage those families. We go to those Gold Star widows and those Gold Star mother and fathers, and we realize that their children today that are 3 years old someday will see this film, and we want them to know their daddy was a hero. And that's our ultimate goal with these films. So we would never show any footage that degrades or shows their daddy or their mommy in a way that we wouldn't want them to be seen. There is so much, as Wendy said, so much footage because these are the best of what our country has to offer. This is why America is the greatest country in the world, because of these men and women who selflessly go out there and protect our freedoms to allow us to do what we're all doing today. So when you see the film, I think you'll see that those final 95 minutes honor our men and women. And as Regan said, it puts you there. You're actually running down that hill with those soldiers to save their buddies. And you feel like you're one of those soldiers. It's an extremely powerful experience. Thank you for the question.
Any other questions from the media center? All right. Well, thank you guys very much. These guys will be around all race weekend long if anybody wants to grab them. And then just a reminder that Joe Walsh will be popping into the media center on Sunday at 12:30. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, press.